very happy with where I am in my current body. I finally have body peace. I'm not as lean as I used to be, but I'm not as heavy as I was when I was unhappy with my body. I have found like that sweet spot of, hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So I know I've been making a lot more like hardcore minimalism content, but recently it has just like, there's other stuff I've been wanting to talk about, and I'm going to, because you know what, honestly, it's not like I have a boss, I'm the boss, I call the shots. So today's video is actually going to be how I finally found body peace and actually loved my body. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo! So if you've been following my channel for a period of time, you guys know that I have been very open with everything that's been wrong in my life, and my ED is something that was very personal, but I know that speaking about it, like shining a light on the subject, is the only way for us to move forward, and having the courage to talk about something that was a struggle in my life, I know has been very helpful to somebody else. So I'm just gonna talk about it. I have struggled with body dysmorphia for a really long time. I grew up in the 90s in the golden dieting era, where Kate Moss was the golden standard. Not that I wanted to be Kate Moss. I'm trying to think, who was it that really influenced me? I'd probably say Asian culture. If you think like the Western dieting culture is pretty bad, you should definitely check out Asian dieting culture. That is some next level toxic shit. Like, you at 50 kgs already like considered pretty fat. I did achieve the goal weight that I wanted, but it definitely came at a lot of health costs, which I decided in the end was just like not worth it. Lost my period, grew hair all over my body, and it's actually been almost 5 years since I recovered from anorexia. So it's been half a decade, and I'm very happy with where I am in my current body. I finally have body peace. I'm not as lean as I used to be, but I'm not as heavy as I was when I was unhappy with my body. I have found like that sweet spot of, I'm healthy and I feel good in my body. And I want to talk about 4 things that have really helped me in finding body peace, and I hope that this might help somebody else out who is currently, you know, going through that journey of either recovering or questioning the whole, you know, dieting narrative, body aesthetic goals. The point of this video is just to kind of like look at this from a perspective of mental health. Like, how can you be happy at whatever size is your happy level? I don't know what that may be for you, so I can only speak from personal experience, and if that can definitely help you out, this video has done its job. Okay, so number one of the things that really helped me a lot was I stopped weighing myself. I haven't weighed myself in I think in a solid 2 years. I recovered in 2019, and I think the last time that I weighed myself was maybe 2020. I remember the last time I weighed myself, I was 115. So I was 115 2 years ago. I have no idea what I weigh now. I have a general idea of what I weigh just because like I still own a lot of the same clothes, and they're not like stretchy by any means. So I have a general idea of if I'm like leaner or thicker, but like weighing myself, that number would destroy me. First thing in the morning, took a shower, weighed myself, and my self-esteem, like just thinking about it, just makes me want to cry. But just how tightly my self-esteem was tied to a number on a scale was just like all of the validation and all of my self-worth was determined for me like at 9 in the morning. I could not live that way anymore. I had lived that way since I started dieting back in grade 9. I was like, I don't want to spend my 30s like that. I don't weigh myself. Of course, if you need to weigh yourself for health reasons, please disregard this tip. But I don't think that like you don't have to weigh yourself daily. I think if anything, maybe once a week is enough. I don't weigh myself at all, have not for 2 years, and it has probably been one of the best mental health decisions I've made among many things. Okay, number 2, I stopped counting calories. I counted calories when I was in high school, and then I stopped for a period of time, and then I took it back up again in like, I think like 3rd year and 4th year of med school. I think that counting calories can be a good medical tool. I don't want to disregard it, you know, as a medical professional. I think that these things can be useful to help kind of have a objective measure of where you're going. But for me, I definitely found a lot of body peace when I stopped counting calories. I remember I used to kind of use it not so much as the tool that it's intended to be, but I would kind of use it as a justifying tool. You know, I would be like, oh, I can afford these calories. Oh, I can't afford those calories. I ate too many calories. I need to go for an extra run. I feel really tired. It's raining, blah, blah, blah. It was like not really healthy. I think I took it too far. I think that it should be guidelines, and besides, calories have a margin of error. Your calories are not as quite accurate as you may think, so you don't need to be that hard on yourself. It's just to give you a general idea of like how much caloric and energy you're intaking to kind of help with weight management, but it shouldn't be something to obsess over. So I intuitively eat. When I'm full, I stop eating, and I honored that even when it made me put on a lot of weight. When I recovered, I put on 35 pounds, and I was very happy to finally just eat to the point of satiation. As you recover and you eat normal foods, your hormones will eventually regulate. Again, please see a professional. I'm just speaking from my personal experience. It took me about 4 years for my hormones to regulate. I think now is probably this year or a little bit of last year was the first year that I finally was able to eat what I consider like normal proportions. Like, to put it in perspective, like a McDonald's burger would be enough to fill me, as opposed to I could probably eat 3 meals and still feel no feeling of fullness, just because my hormones were just so out of whack. Okay, number 3, obsessing. I stopped obsessing about food and I stopped obsessing about my body. That definitely helped with the whole body piece. And I kind of want to talk about body positivity and this whole obsessingness. I do think body positivity can be a good movement. It wasn't something necessarily that really worked for me just because of my own body dysmorphia, I guess, background. It was helpful at first to just kind of give me that space to pardon me, to, as weird as it is, I felt like you couldn't have a bigger body. I felt like that was shameful, but body positivity said it's okay. You deserve love at every size, which is a message I definitely stand behind. I kind of, again, got too obsessive and I took it too far, and I started just eating a lot of unhealthy food, and I didn't feel good anymore, and my skin was really bad, and I was having a lot of like allergic reactions to just the sheer amount of like sugar and oil and junk food and processed like foods that I was eating, that it got to a point where I was just like, I just don't want to obsess about anything. I don't want to obsess about body positivity and what my body looks like. I don't want to be like body neutrality, this and that. I was like, I would just like to get to a place where I feel healthy, I feel happy, I'm not bothering my body, like I feel confident, I feel good. So I've definitely found that sweet spot where I don't obsess about those type of things. I don't obsess about food. I don't think about food at all. Honestly, even when I'm eating, I'm not even really thinking about the food. I enjoy the food for what it is. I find that sweet balance between, making sure I still eat healthy food that maybe doesn't taste the greatest, but at the same time, I still have like little treats every now and then, maybe like on the weekends. That structure makes it so that like I don't have to obsess about every single calorie, every single like macronutrient, which has really helped me a lot with when I look at my body when I'm putting on clothes. It's like that's the only time I ever think about my body. I used to body check a lot before. I don't body check anymore. Now I just know that my body is healthy. I guess that's what it is. When you lose your health, you take for granted your body. Once I started developing a lot of like sicknesses, like when I lost my period, grew hair on my body, and developed vertigo. And I remember I would wake up and my eyes would do this, and like my head would spin, and I would like months on end just like cry every time my period was supposed to come and it didn't. I don't have any of those complications. My period, she's like clockwork. She comes right on time. I wake up, my eyes don't do that weird shaking thing that happens with vertigo. I'm happy and I'm healthy, and that is worth so much more than what my body looks like. And besides, the other thing about being older is I've seen enough trends come and go. I went through the whole like stick thin era of the 90s, and then we entered the 2000s and the slim thick, and then the super thick Kardashian body. It was like, it's just a shit show. Your body will never always be on trend. So I decided, just like I quit fast fashion and just adopted a minimalistic attire, I've adopted a minimalistic body aesthetic. Like my body now is literally Nat's body, and it is not a trend. Nat is healthy and Nat is glowing, and I just feel peace in that. Okay, and the last thing is number 4. There are certain foods that I cut out to finally have body peace. So in my recovery, I definitely ate a lot of gluten and a lot of sugar. And I have mentioned this in some of my videos. It turns out I'm actually pretty intolerant to both of them. But I've shown clips of like, I get like these awful rashes on my skin from eating sugar and gluten. And I tried for many years to keep eating it because I felt like that was part of my recovery. I felt like to not eat that meant that I still had an eating disorder. But now I've realized that at the forefront, the most important thing to me is to be healthy and not to fit societal standards. If most people can eat bread and sugar and nothing happens to them, that is fine. But I'm not going to try to fit a societal box just because everybody else can do it. Just like if everybody wants to be thin, but then being that thin is making me lose my period, I don't want to be that thin. And so I'm not going to eat gluten and sugar because it's wrecking my face. So all of these things is because at the forefront, I decided that being healthy was the most important thing, more so than aesthetics. I heard this really good quote. It's called like, the healthy wear a crown that only the sick can see. And it's true. When I was worrying about my health and worrying about like all of these issues that I had, that is all I could think about. I didn't care what I looked like. It robbed the beauty of my body. But now that I just enjoy my body for what it is, like in its health, I actually don't really care what it looks like. I'd rather be healthy. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I hope that these kind of videos can help out anybody struggling with these things, just to let them know that you're not alone, and recovery, the light at the end of the tunnel, is definitely totally worth it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.